All right, so you know how we like to dig into the latest happenings in hip-hop, right?
Hmm.
Well, buckle up because this one's a wild ride. Xzibit, yeah, you know him. Pimp My Ride. That guy, he's back. Dropping an album after, like, what, over a decade? Crazy, right? But get this. The even crazier part is he's signed with Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, as in the UFC fighter.
You got it, that Conor McGregor. Seems he's got his hands in the music biz now with his label Greenback Records. I mean, talk about an unexpected pairing. What do you make of it all?
Well, I gotta say, at first glance, it's definitely a head scratcher. But when you really think about it, both hip hop and UFC, they kind of thrive on these huge personalities, right? The ones
Yeah.
that know how to put on a show.
Yeah, they both know how to build that hype for sure.
Exactly. And McGregor, he's practically the king of hype. So this whole thing could actually be a genius move, business-wise.
Totally agree. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds, especially since Xzibit's not just, dropping an album. He's dropping some serious truth bombs about the state of hip-hop these days.
Oh, yeah, he's been pretty outspoken about that.
Saying it's missing that depth, that lasting impact that old school hip-hop had. So I got to ask, you think this new album, Kingmaker, is his way of, like, putting his money where his mouth is, showing everyone what he means?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, this album could be Xzibit's big statement, his way of showing the world what hip-hop should be. A return to its roots, you could say.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And you know what else makes it even more interesting? The timing of it all.
What do you mean?
He's got those 2 singles coming out really soon, right? Play This at My Funeral drops October 11th, and then Been a Long Time Pete 2 on October 25th.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they were coming out that close together. Play This at My Funeral. That's a pretty bold choice for a comeback single, don't you think?
Bold. Absolutely. Really makes you wonder what kind of statement he's trying to make with this whole album.
Right. It's like he's saying, this is me, deal with it. Takes guts to challenge the whole industry, especially in hip-hop, where things change so fast.
I think what's really fascinating is how Xzibit's talking about staying power, about the music lasting. It connects to this bigger conversation about how hip-hop has changed over time. Like some people say, with streaming and social media and all that, it's all about catchy tunes that blow up online instead of the lyrics, the storytelling, the heart of it all.
Yeah, it's true. Almost like the idea of an album, like a complete work of art. It's gotten lost in all the noise.
Exactly. And the pressure on artists to just keep churning out song after song, it's insane.
Which makes it even more interesting that Xzibit's doing a full album, Kingmaker, not just throwing a bunch of singles out there.
Well, right. It's almost like he's going against the grain, like a throwback to how it used to be.
Making a statement with the format itself.
Exactly. It's him taking control of his story, his music, his legacy. And that idea of control, it pops up a lot in the music industry, especially when you're talking about who owns what, who gets to decide how things are remembered.
And speaking of ownership and legacy, that brings us to Jay-Z and what's going on with Roc-A-Fella Records. This whole Roc-A-Fella thing, it's like, a front row seat to hip-hop history, right?
Absolutely.
And for anyone who might not be, like, totally up on it, we're talking about Jay-Z and his former business partner, Dame Dash.
Right.
They're, let's just say they're not exactly seeing eye to eye these days.
Yeah, there's some legal battles going on.
Big time. And it's about way more than just money, you know. This is about control, about who gets to say what Roc-A-Fella Records means in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely. It's about legacy and the latest development.
Right.
Well, let me tell you, it's a real game changer. A judge basically just said, nope, not touching it. When it comes to who owns the rights to Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z's first album, come 2031.
2031. Why is that year so important?
Okay, so this is where things get kind of technical, but basically there's this thing in copyright law that lets artists get control of their old recordings after a certain amount of time.
Really? Even if they, signed those rights away before?
Yep, sometimes. And that's what could happen with Reasonable Doubt in 2031. It could go back to Jay-Z.
Wow. But wait, doesn't Dame Dash still own a chunk of Roc-A-Fella?
He does, yeah. That's what makes all this even crazier. See, he's trying to sell his share, right? Trying to pay off some debts.
Right.
But if Reasonable Doubt suddenly becomes Jay-Z's again in a few years, well, that piece of Roc-A-Fella that Dame's selling, it's suddenly worth a whole lot less.
You're kidding. So anyone buying it now is taking a huge risk.
A huge risk. Paying a ton of money for something that might not even be theirs to control in the long run. It's a gamble.
It's wild. Makes you realize how much is going on behind the scenes in the music biz.
Oh, for sure. And this whole thing with Reasonable Doubt, it brings up this bigger issue. So many artists, They sign away their rights early on when they're young and just want their music out there.
Yeah, they don't always think about what'll happen years down the line.
Exactly. And this Roc-A-Fella situation, it's like a cautionary tale, reminding everyone how important it is to understand the fine print, to have a good team on your side.
Especially now, it seems like music rights are more valuable than ever.
Absolutely. Knowing your rights is key. This whole case, it's proof that legal stuff, having the right people in your corner, that's crucial for artists, especially in this day and age.
It really makes you think about everything that's changed in the industry since Reasonable Doubt came out. I mean, streaming, social media, the whole game's different now.
No doubt. And with all these changes, artists got to be even smarter, even more aware of the business side of things, because ultimately their creative legacy, their financial future,
It's all riding on these contracts, these rights they have.
it all comes back to that.
So we've got Xzibit potentially shaking things up with his comeback. Jay-Z fighting for control of his legacy. It's really kind of wild when you think about it. You've got these two huge names, each navigating this crazy industry in their own way.
Yeah, it's like, what does control even mean in the music industry today, you know?
Right. Is it about owning all your old recordings or teaming up with someone totally unexpected? Or maybe it's about getting to tell your own story on your own terms.
And the thing is, there's no right answer, is there? Every artist has to figure out their own path.
And I bet that path probably changes as your career does, right?
Definitely. Like for a brand new artist, it might be about finding a label that helps them get their music out there. But someone like Xzibit, someone like Jay-Z, they're playing a different game now.
It's about legacy for them at this point.
Exactly. Making sure their work, their impact, it's recognized and respected the way they want it to be.
So it's like, even though their stories are different, they're both kind of about fighting to stay true to themselves in an industry that can be really, really tough.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's a fight that never really ends, especially these days when everything's changing so fast.
This has been so eye-opening, I gotta say. Really makes you think about the music you listen to in a whole new way.
I know, right? It reminds you that there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes. All these stories, these struggles, all wrapped up in the music we love.
And it makes you wonder what the future holds, you know? Will artists be able to keep finding new ways to take control, to own their work? Or will it always be this, like, uphill battle? Lots to think about, for sure. And for all of you listening, keep asking those questions. Keep digging deeper. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the world of hip-hop.